this is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Josh Powers.
And I am John Moore.
And we're the hosts of The Cheap Seats, brought to you by Public House Media each and every Tuesday. We're here to talk sports.
And anything else you can think of that has to do with sports. Bottom line is, we're your conduit. We are fans just like you. We're talking about the stuff that we know that you're talking about around the water cooler.
Once you've finished listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media, we hope you'll come and check out our show, The Cheap Seats, every Tuesday on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You'll find us way up here in the cheap seats.
History is happening in High Point as professional baseball has come to Furniture City. Don't miss any of the action from strikeouts,
3-2 cold strike 3 right at the knees,
to web gems,
stabbed by Alfonso, he spins, throws to first, and the pick by Bichette rounds out a beautiful play,
to home runs,
high fly ball deep left field. This one is gone. Get up and get out, Tyler Ladendorf.
And of course, every rockin' victory.
The pitch, swing, strikeout, the Rockers win! The first win in Rockers history here at home.
Interviews, recaps, and insights from across the Atlantic League. It's all fresh off the Rockers.
Hey Rockers fans, welcome to another week of the Off the Rockers podcast. I'm Kevin McMahon, and we got a full house here for you this week. It's James Jackson, the media relations coordinator for the Rockers, is here, and so is the other half of the broadcast team for the Rockers, my sometimes color analyst, sometimes the play-by-play man. I'm the color analyst. Kendrick Fruits is here. So, Kendrick, we thank you for being here as well, and we'll kind of go around the room and get everybody's feelings here as we tie a bow on the Somerset Patriots series and get ready for what is going to be a quick road trip for the Rockers. Then they'll come back and have a pretty lengthy homestand. But let's go ahead and start with today. Patriots win 4-1 and end up winning this series. Kendrick, your immediate thoughts?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, I think I was probably a little too negative in the post-game show. So I'll put it this way. The Rockers have a very talented offense. They just don't get production top to bottom every single night. Is usually,
and that's what you said. You didn't say anything extra.
Sure. It's just, you'd like to see them put it together 1 through 9, and we just haven't really seen that in a while. But there's a lot of things to be excited about, especially from the pitching staff. You got 4 innings from Bowden yesterday, shutout ball. Lucas Irvine, 3 2/3 on Sunday, shutout ball. So just really excited to see, the great stuff we've seen out of these new pitchers who come in and contribute immediately. We already knew we had a dominant bullpen. We knew Van Meter and Demasi were solid. It's just good to see more and more of those pieces come into place as we go into the second half.
And that's what I tried to hit on, as we both did in the post game. Just take the positive things with you on the road, like how good the bullpen's been, like the starting pitcher. You got 2 guys, Irvine and Bowman, or not Bowman. You were saying that Bowden came in and did a really good job, and they were starts that we only saw him for a few innings, but a lot to build off, a lot to be excited about, and a guy in Breland Almadova who was playing to bunt over at one point, run over Myles Schroder to third. He reaches third, Myles Schroder does, in that game on Friday night in the 10th inning. And then Almadova ends up saying, I'm going to swing free, and wins the game. So that was pretty exciting. And when you look at the standings, James, everything is still kind of up for grabs. It's still very early in the second half.
It really is. I mean, this is obviously going to look like it's coming down to a battle between the Patriots and the Rockers for that.
It feels like we're kind of tied together, right? At this point, it's the Patriots and the Rockers. We're paired up. It's going to be the two of us all year long, it feels like.
It is, but I mean, I wouldn't count New Britain out either.
No, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, they have our number this year. So, I mean, definitely don't count them out. But at the same time, it looks like the two best teams fighting for that next playoff spot is Somerset and us. So,
and before we go to, I might add, a great interview with Myles Schroder, I want to ask you guys one more question. This was the first week that in person we got to see Atlantic League Baseball with the new rules in effect. We didn't see a steal happen here from either side, but Kendrick, what you and I saw from the booth, and we'll go to James Jackson as well, who tends to be down more on the field level, so he gets an interesting look at things as well. But what we saw was guys more aware at all times, pitchers on the rubber and off the rubber, really trying to figure out what all that means. Catchers treating every ball live because it is. We saw everybody playing at a more heightened focus level. What did you see?
Yeah, you didn't necessarily have a whole lot of implementation of those new rules out there, but you certainly felt the presence of them during the course of the game. Especially we had left-handers like Asher Tolliver stepping off of the rubber to pick off the runner over at first base. You saw
creative stuff. I liked it.
Exactly. You see how those rules come into effect. You see the runners get a little more daring on the base paths, trying to take that extra couple of feet while they're taking a lead. Then as a pitcher or a catcher, you think, hey, maybe I have a chance to throw down there to first base to try to snare them. But also as a base runner, you think, hey, I'm a little closer to stealing second base. As far as the check swings, we saw a guy lay down a bunt, the getting the extra bunt attempt. You saw a guy try to lay down a bunt with 2 strikes. As far as the live balls that go back to the screen or that go away from the catcher, we did not see anybody attempt to quote unquote steal first base, but we did see, you mentioned I think at one point here today, a catcher stared down Matt Jones, Bracamonte for the Patriots, stared down Matt Jones and said, hey, I'm watching you.
As the ball was rolling.
Exactly. So nobody really attempted to run in those situations, but you can tell the catchers are thinking about it.
I don't know if you guys can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but from field level, I believe I saw Michael Russell. Didn't he attempt something at one point?
No, that's a good question. So he was standing there, the ball rolled out, and the ball rolled out of play, and home plate umpire Benny Pigg, if Russell, we're guessing, because it's a new rule, but if Russell would have made a motion to go down to first base, just like when you're running, the ball goes out of play when you're on the base pass, we're thinking he would have been awarded the first base. So I think Benny saw him move out of the corner of his eye and thought that he made a move down the first, so he was awarding him first base. And that's why you saw all the Somerset Patriots put their hands up, like, where are you going, bro? They were all upset. So that got switched. So everybody's still getting used to it, but it has been very interesting nonetheless. One more thing before we go to the interview is a look at the standings, and we're looking at Sunday standings because this is Sunday and it's not Monday yet. I can't go in time yet. We're going to work on that, but not yet. But besides, the standings will change because we're playing it at 2 o'clock on a 7-inning game, so things will change. But let's talk about 2 quick storylines that the Liberty division seems to be picking up where they left off. It's really close. I think only a game or a game and a half separates the Ducks, the Patriots, and the Bees in general. The Bees off to a little bit of a slow start here, 2-6, but as we saw last half, don't count them out. And the York Revolution really building off that strong finish in the first half, 7-2 already.
Yeah, not only that, but we talked about how we're going to be fighting with the Somerset Patriots going throughout the second half here. The Long Island Ducks game, at the time that this is being recorded, they haven't even thrown first pitch yet. That's still about 45 minutes away. I think it's like 5:30 or something like that is their scheduled first pitch time. So, they've already jumped back into first place. You mentioned kind of picking up where they left off. So it really feels like a 2-team race going for the wild card position. Now remember,
if it comes into effect.
Correct. Yeah. And remember, though, if Sugar Land ends up winning their division, which they haven't started off super hot, they're 4-4 coming into Sunday's game, then that opens up 2 wild card spots. But you can't bet on that. So really, you've got to do everything you can if you're High Point to stay in front of Somerset, especially if Long Island doesn't relinquish their hold on first place.
Or if York stays hot and Sugar Land can't win again.
Correct. We have no idea what's going on in that division.
York's definitely one to watch as well. Like as Kevin had mentioned, I mean they can win their division and they only leaves 1 wild card spot open. or even then, if Sugarland wins, we're all fighting for everything. It's free for all for everything. But New Britain, like you had mentioned, they're like 2-6 now.
Yeah.
I think you said at the time of this recording, but they started that way at the start of the season, and they were on fire.
Exactly. So, and if we were talking about it, Liberty Division was so close. If they were in the Freedom Division, I think at one point they would have been leading. I mean, that's how good of a record they had. So it's all up for grabs. There's just the start of the second half, and nothing is certain. But the one thing that is certain is it appears that we're going to have a lot of fun as we get closer and closer to September and October. But another thing that's so great about the High Point Rockers is that a new player seems to step up every single night, and it can be somebody new every single night. And one of the guys who is so consistent and such a trusted option for this team is Myles Schroder. And he was nice enough to stop by the Off the Rockers headquarters and have a nice little interview with us. So here is an interview with me, James Jackson, and Kendrick Fruits, and the man of the hour, Myles Schroder. So it's a great one. Please enjoy it. Hey, Rockers fans, Kevin McMahon. I'm joined by James Jackson and Kendrick Fruits. We've got a full house as Myles Schroder is with us on Off the Rockers this week. And Myles, we'll just start with the game on Friday night against the Somerset Patriots. You guys returned to High Point in the first game at home in the second half. And you had a big home run last night. So let's talk about that and tell us a little bit about the game in general and how you were feeling.
We played pretty well. Fortunate to get the win always, especially against a good team like Somerset. So we battled and fortunate to come out on top. So.
And what can you say in general about you've been here since the team started? You were on the initial roster for the Rockers in their first season. So what has your experience been so far, getting to know the other teammates and getting a feel for playing as a High Point Rocker for the first time?
It's been great. I mean, we've had a great group from the beginning to what we have now too. I mean, it always changes. That's just baseball, the way it goes. But I couldn't be happier for the group of guys that we have and the group of guys that they keep bringing in. And it's just kind of the way it is. If they're not good clubhouse guys, they won't be around, and that's definitely nice to have, and something that we keep as a team. And I mean, if you don't gel, you're not going to be here, and that's the key to winning, and that's the key to success in this game. So.
You guys are definitely focused on the second half now, but if we can look back real quick at the first half, is there anything that jumps out in general of something that was really fun or something you'll look back fondly and go, that was a great moment?
Yeah, I mean, being in contention the whole time. I mean, we came up just short. I mean, we played 2 or 3 more games. I'm not sure what it was more than everybody else, but just being in the run and having a chance. I mean, that's what you want, and that's what keeps it fun. That's what keeps you going out there and working hard. I mean, that's just being in it. That's what it's all about.
And having that experience, does that excite you even more for what can happen at the end of the second half?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't play any season and expect anything but a championship. I mean, if you don't win a championship, then the season is nothing, to me. Everybody talks about making playoffs, all that stuff, which in the big leagues, that's what you want because that's where you make your money, but unfortunately, that's not really the incentive that we play for, You play to win and get that recognition. But, just coming here and winning a championship, that's what we're here for.
Myles, you started the season off as one of the 2 catchers on the roster between Brett Austin and yourself, and now there's 3 catchers on the roster, and you kind of shifted out into the outfield a little bit. And you kind of touched on everything. How does that transition? Does that take anything different to get mentally prepared than being a catcher at all?
It's a little different. I don't really treat anything different, my preparation or anything like that, but. Whatever they need me to do, that's my job to do. So in affiliated ball, every year was different. Some years I came in as a second catcher and took over as everyday catcher, and then some years, I played third base a lot, and some years I played first, center. It just kind of depends on what the team needs, and that's always been my role my whole career. So I just show up to the park, and wherever they put me in the lineup that day it's my job to do. So.
We've had a couple pitchers on, and they've said that the relationship between catchers and pitchers it matters a whole lot. What is your opinion on that? And, I mean, do you feel like you and the pitcher need to be connected enough to, perform well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you should know your pitchers, and, these young guys too. I mean, with Jones and Nitro, I mean, they got to learn these guys too, and I think it's a little different. Jones have been around, but, Nitro's kind of coming out of the college scene, and, college ball and pro ball is a whole different story, especially guys that have been to the big leagues and all that. They have their ways, and they like a game called a certain way, and that's up to them to learn and to trust you to do that. So I think I've played long enough that, I kind of earned that trust, and it gels and stuff like that. But they've been doing a great job, too, behind the plate, and, I'm sure the pitching staff has been pretty proud of what they've been able to do together. So,
and as you had mentioned, there's three of you guys now, and they're kind of the newer guys on the team. Are you kind of like the father figure in a way to them? I mean, do you guys just all help each other out, or how does that go about being there's three of you, and I know you're going everywhere, but do you still kind of work with them and teach them things as they go, or are they kind of just on their own thing?
Yeah, both. I'm not really a kind of the big talker. I like to have fun, stuff like that, and joke around. But, if I see something and I'll point it out to them, whether it's hitting, catching, anything like that, or if I'm out in the field and I see, a certain pitch in a certain situation, and, they have to play the game too. And then you come in and say, hey, what'd you kind of like a pitching coach. That's Frank's job too. But, if we don't see certain things and don't mention it to each other, then we're cheating each other, So we try and help out as much as we can, and whatever I can do to help them, whether they ask or whether it's something I just see. But for the most part, I just let them play the game, and that's how you learn, getting out there playing, and just if you can help, you help.
And last bit for me, and I'll let Kendrick go ahead. Being a catcher, does that help, kind of the way you read your own pitcher? When you're hitting, you're a fantastic hitter. Does that help you at all when reading an opposing pitcher?
You mean just pitch recognition in general?
Yeah.
I think so. Because as a catcher, you're constantly tracking it, and you're super focused in on it. And then when I'm in the outfield, I'm furthest away from the ball all the time, usually being in center. So just the adjustment on my eyes is tough. Just coming in from being from afar and coming up and getting the ball close again. But, obviously not catching every day. My legs are a lot fresher doing that stuff too. So it's kind of a give and take thing. You feel better, but at the same time, the adjustment in your eyes is a little different for me, especially being a switch hitter. Yesterday I had 3 at-bats right-handed, and then, go in there and strike out left-handed, and I got pitches that I should have hit, but I didn't. It's just kind of the way switch hitting goes. I should have went in and hit off the tee a little bit, and that way I can at least have felt it instead of just going up there and just putting it on. But that's switch hitting, and that's just baseball in general. You go up there and just compete, and however the results come, that's the way it goes.
Myles, my first question will be serious, then we'll lighten it up a little bit. We're in the middle of a series with the Patriots right now, and the last home series before the All-Star break, also against Somerset. Obviously, every game, you want to go out and win every game, but is it even more so when you're playing a team where you think this is probably a team we're going to come down to the wire against and is going to be battling for a playoff spot come the end of the season?
Yeah, those are the teams you want to beat everybody, but especially the guys that are contending, the guys that are going to be there in the end. Those are the guys you need to beat. And but baseball, you know how it is. Usually the best teams are always losing the worst teams, or not that there's any bad teams, but just that's kind of the way baseball always is. And but you go out there and compete, and for me it's no different. Doesn't matter who I play or who I'm facing, or the objects that come out on top. So. For me, it's no different, and, I hope it's not any different for anybody else. I hope they don't go and, give a half-assed job against one team and then try and turn it up. It's, it shouldn't be that way. You should go out there and put your A game out there every day, and, hopefully that's what everybody's doing.
Well, we talked a little bit about playing Somerset before and after the break. Let's talk about the break a little bit. Really good time for some of the guys. We talked to them just to kind of mentally refocus and relax. And so how did you spend your All-Star break?
I went home and was fortunate enough that I lived close enough to be able to go home and spend it with my girls. And, it was just some time to spend with them and enjoy time with them and watch them learn. And my oldest turned 3 and my youngest turned 1 the day I had to come back, so it's just getting back and kind of being at home and stuff like that was definitely nice to do.
Last question from me. We talked a little bit about this being a brand new team here in High Point, and I was just curious your reactions with the community so far. Any how the fans are receiving you guys, and not only that, but any community events or whatever you players have been fortunate enough to be a part of that really stand out. Is I'm really glad that I'm able to be here for this.
Yeah, definitely very thankful, and everybody's been great. The fans have been great, and just being out in the community and stuff like that, just around. If they know you're a Rocker, they, not that they treat anybody else any different. I think that's just the South and, the kind of way that people treat each other anyway. But everybody's been good, and, just going in, I go to, Carter Brothers and stuff and put my head in there and get some good food, at least try and get in there as much as I can. But I go in there and Tim just sits me down and takes care of me and stuff like that, and takes care of my daughter, my family whenever I bring them in there, and lets her get a little scoop of cake or whatever, just to, it's family atmosphere, and I couldn't be thankful enough for the way he's treated me and the way everybody else has treated us as well.
Myles, today at the time of this recording on Saturday is Hush Puppy night. I'm just curious, as you mentioned, you go to Carter Brothers and stuff. Carter Brothers is sponsoring our Hush Puppy eating contest tonight. So how many things of Hush Puppies do you think you could eat?
I'm not sure. I'm not a big meal guy, so I'm more of a snacker and stuff, so I kind of just go from one thing to the other. But, their Hush Puppies are pretty good, so I'm sure I could put a few down. But, I want to be really in the eating contest.
Let me switch it up. Who on the team do you think could eat the most? Who's the biggest eater on the team?
Sitting across from Clemens today, him eating his burrito, he's a pretty aggressive eater. So if I was to do it, I'd probably put Clemens in there.
We'll ask a few more questions real quick, rapid fire, and then we'll let you go. But just to get to know you a little bit better. So what is on your iPod or on your iPhone? What are you listening to nowadays, music-wise?
I listen to everything. So, I grew up in the Bay Area and then moved up in the mountains. And so, my dad grew up in Oakland. So, I have a lot of old funk and R&B and stuff like that. And then my buddy I live with, and his dad was a bull rider and, all that stuff too. So, I just like music in general. So I have Spotify, and I got everything you can think of on there, but I usually stick to country or, just kind of whatever I'm feeling that day. So
now, who was it, Q or Gio, who said you're a big West Coast rap guy?
Yeah,
is that accurate?
Yeah, I listen to everything, but obviously being living in the Bay Area for a while too. Just the Bay Area guys that that are out there rapping and stuff. You just you like their music, and that's what you grew up on, and that's who you support,
Is there anybody specifically to put you on the spot? Is there any,
everybody, Too Short, and, some other guys not too many people know, or like Filthy Rich or Jay Stalin. Just all kinds of people, and then you have your funk and your country, and, Cody Johnson's real big right now, and I'm a big... I like to listen to voices and listen to a lot of acoustic stuff and live stuff. So, anybody that can sing really well and carry a tune, that's what I listen to.
So you mentioned growing up in the Bay Area. Are you a Niner or a Raider?
I'm neither. I'm a Chiefs fan.
Really?
Yeah. So I kind of grew up, obviously, out there in California, but My dad and my uncle were really big Chiefs fans, and I mean we like the Niners too, but being a Chiefs fan, the Raiders are obviously the rivals, and I just one game I went to a Raiders Chiefs game, and I was outside the locker room, and one of the guys came and grabbed me and brought me in the back of the locker room, and I got my football signed by Marty Schottenheimer, and I mean I got Andre Rison, autographs and all kinds of people, and so. I just, ever since then, I've been a Chiefs fan, but I don't really wear red, so I just, I'm a Chiefs fan. So
how hard were you pulling for them to beat the Patriots in the AFC title game?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, Brady. I mean, it's just kind of, you're rooting for him, but you're just in the back of your mind, he's got he's the closer coming in, so it's just kind of. You just know what to expect, so...
Nothing he does is shocking anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely living right.
So last thing for me, just while we're on the football topic, and it is getting close to training camp, what do you expect for your Chiefs this year?
Win a championship. I don't expect anything else. I mean, for me or for whoever I'm rooting for, or, just you pull for the people you like, and I don't expect anything but the best. So.
Are you a big Madden guy?
No, I don't play video games at all.
Oh.
I try and stay outside or, having my daughters and stuff, and I got 3 dogs, so it's just when I'm at home, that's time with them. I usually just more put on music and hang out with them. So.
Well, they gave Patrick Mahomes 99 overall over Tom Brady, so that must be a good sign, right?
Yeah, well, he's an athlete, and I like watching him play because he just, they talk about him throwing or him doing these passes, but it's just – he's out there, and it's more of a feel thing. It's kind of, he's a great quarterback, but I'm sure if you put him at wide out or whatever, he'd figure out, how to make it work too. And I just like watching him play and watching athletes in general do what they do.
Last question, then we'll let you go, but thanks for joining us. Who was your favorite baseball player growing up? Did you have a guy you're like, I really like the way he plays?
Nobody really. If anybody, obviously Chipper Jones was a guy for, probably 90% of kids growing up, but I was more I just like watching. I like you go and imitate guys and stuff like that, and growing up I would switch hit, like messing around with it, but I didn't start switch hit until I was like 24, so just kind of I just like watching people play. I don't really root for anybody. I just more of like watching the competition,
Well, Myles, we thank you so much for joining us, and good luck the rest of the way. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
What a great conversation with Myles Schroder. A huge thank you to him for joining the podcast, and I really enjoyed getting to talk to him, Kendrick.
Yeah, just it's always fun getting to not just get to know the players, but get to kind of feel what goes on in their head during the course of the ball season, but then get to know him as a person. As a Raiders fan, I'm kind of disappointed that he's a Chiefs fan from the Bay Area, but still great to talk to him.
It was a lot of fun. It was kind of fun to have you guys go back and forth on that. And as I mentioned in the interview, and I mentioned on the one of the broadcasts this series, I enjoyed hearing about his love of West Coast hip-hop and Too Short, and all that was really, really cool. So We've almost done it all here. We've had the interview. We've given you the update on how your Rockers are doing. Let's tell you about what's coming up next for your High Point Rockers. They go on the road immediately. So Monday, when you hear this, they are in Southern Maryland taking on the Blue Crabs. But then they come back Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, July 25th through August 1st. But until we'll meet again in between that time. So we're just going to talk about when they first come back, which is July 25th, and Thursday through Sunday. We got a lot going on at the ballpark as the Freedom, I almost said Liberty, the Freedom Division champion Sugarland Skeeters for the first half come back to BB&T Point since the first time they came, which was opening day of this ballpark.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is the fact that the Skeeters have struggled a little bit out of the gate in the second half. They're 4-4 so far in the second half, and York has actually passed them in the overall standings. So the Rockers might be catching them at a good time, especially coming back at home themselves after a 3-game series. And the thing that's interesting that I want to point out to you, Kevin, is the fact that, you don't need me to say it, you know this too. these are two very different teams than the first time they played earlier on this year at BB&T Point. Dante Bichette Jr. is gone. Simmons is gone. Austin is gone, yeah, and there's a bunch of new guys who have come in. Michael Bowden, we just saw a fantastic 4 innings from him on Saturday, and a lot of new faces. So while it's the same uniforms going to be out there, it's hardly the same teams that we saw earlier.
Well, and still some familiar faces, but also you go from a team they came in May 2nd. It was the first time the High Point Rockers were playing at BB&T Point. The Sugar Land Skeeters are a team that have won championships and have that kind of experience. We weren't even 3 weeks. The Rockers hadn't even played 3 full weeks of baseball together. So a lot has changed. This is a team that's very familiar with each other now. Their chemistry is one of, if not the best part about this team. It's one thing everybody talks about, how well they gel and how well they play together. So we're in for a big treat between those two teams. When they met the first time, the young Rockers and the experienced Sugar Land Skeeters, they were memorable and exciting games, and I think these will be just as exciting, especially when you look at the fact that every game matters as the Rockers are focused on winning the second half, or if they're unable to do that, if the wild card comes into play, they want to be the wild card team. So the Sugar Land Skeeters, they still want to win as many games as they can, but the pressure's off a little bit because they're first half champs.
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier if you're Sugar Land. And would you like a little 2-sentence analysis for a preview of this series? I can give it to you in 2 sentences.
Please.
I think the High Point Rockers have a better offense. These two pitching staffs are neck and neck as far as being dominant, led by the bullpen. The Sugar Land Skeeters have 3 former major leaguers that are dominant in their bullpen: Daniel Schlereth, Nick Rumbelow, and the closer Felipe Paulino. So I think this will be pitchers duel central when these two teams square off.
It's going to be exciting, and not only is there going to be great baseball, and there always is great baseball when you come to BB&T Point, but there's going to be some pretty fantastic promotions. Let's let you know about that when that series starts. It starts on a Thursday, so you know it's $1 beer night. It's also Christmas in July. It's a rockin' Christmas in July, and it's going to be presented by the Salvation Army in Old Dominion. If you bring 3 canned fruit items, you can get you'll get a free ticket. So you'll get complimentary admission into the Rockers game. Also, the first 1,000 fans will receive a Rockers mini bat, which is courtesy of Allen Tate Realty. Friday, July 26th, it is Veterans Appreciation Night. I think the Rockers are going to be wearing custom jerseys, and you can get those on the Live Source app. There are still some Hushpuppy jerseys available as well. It's going to be a camo hat giveaway as well, so 1,000 fans will get, the first 1,000 fans will get a free camo hat. Then on Saturday, July 27th, it's Girl Scout night. We're going to have Girl Scouts camping out at the ballpark, a little movie afterwards. That's always fun. It's also mascot bobblehead giveaway. We're going to have Hype the Horse bobbleheads, which I'm excited to see. Those should be pretty cool. And they're presented by the UPS store. And then on Sunday, July 28th, you got a Family Fun Day Sunday, High Sox Sunday, Kids Run the Bases, and then the Daredevil Dogs are going to come in. They're like those Frisbee catching dogs that you're going to see, so that's going to be pretty exciting. And we'll talk to you again before then, so we'll set you up for the rest of the homestand next time we talk to you. But all that sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
I'm really excited to see the Daredevil Dogs. I've seen an exhibition like that before, and I'm really excited. But here's my question. For the Christmas in July, it's a fantastic promotion, but does that mean that I can give my family a Christmas list this week? Can I ask my family for presents?
I think you have to. Yeah. You better call them right now.
I'm on it.
We're really excited to see you, and we hope that you're excited. We had a quick 3-game homestand here for the Rockers. They go on the road really quick to Southern Maryland. Then they come right back, and we were looking at, I think that's an 8-game homestand coming up, so plenty of chances to catch your Rockers. But unfortunately right now we must bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night. Do you have any thoughts before we say goodbye?
It's just a great day at the ballpark, and it'll be a great series when Sugar Land comes in. And I think we've given plenty of good reasons why fans should come out to the ballpark. And I mean, it's High Point Rockers baseball. It's been dramatic, it's been exciting, it's fun, and the promotions are fantastic. Do I need to give you any more reasons?
What more do you want? We'll see you soon, and we hope to see you at BB&T Point. Enjoy Off the Rockers this week. Thank you so much. Well, you've enjoyed it at this point, haven't you? So I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time, and we'll hopefully see you at the ballpark. Thanks.